YouTube's going live. Bitcoin's about to crash below 99K.
Perfect. I don't want it to go up yet.
Broadcast live. I'm gonna switch my audio over. All right. Quick mic check on you.
Microphone check. Hive is the greatest. No sarcasm. No sarcasm. The
One
cat,
more
the
time.
cat is happy. He's in a happy place.
I don't think I have you on the Zoom.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know. I mean, hold on. Nothing should be different on my end.
Oh, wait, try again.
Testing, testing, testing.
Okay. Yep, now you're good.
Cool.
Um,
All right, let me close out. I'm gonna close out Discord. I've got too many things open. Resources are getting jammed. Find the threadcast.
um, yeah, looks like we're all good. I got the announcements out already. Streaming the Threadcast. We are live on all of the different all of the platforms. Let's see here. Let me just get this edited into the Threadcast too. Yeah, welcome everybody. It is February 4th, 2025, of course, second month of the year. It's been an eventful month or eventful year so far. Um, even though we're only a month in. Um, we've been obviously grinding away on quite a lot of things. The Dash integration is still performing very well. I'm very happy with with the onboarding and the progress. And obviously we can kind of get into this a little bit because I'm sure everyone's thinking about it. But a lot of people have been asking for data on how well the Dash integration has performed. And we've done a lot of blog posts talking about that data and how we've done and how many users have been onboarded thanks to this Dash integration. That being said, I think a lot of people want to see more than just blog posts. And another thing that we've obviously been facing because of the INLEO proposal on the DHF is that people are kind of proposing counter data. There's really only two people that are doing it, and both of them are cherry picking data. So, with that being said, I think most people have ignored them, and I've gotten a lot of DMs that said, I saw, so and so post certain data, and I obviously know that it's not accurate because I've seen the INLEO data. Um, but I think there are some people who still see it and they take it at face value and they see what they see and if you don't dive deeper, if you don't look at actually how they're getting that data, then you might actually, believe it or buy into it. So, for example, without naming anything and getting into the drama of it, because I think it's just a waste of time. One person cherry picked like 125 random accounts that were mostly brand new actually. Uh, and they said that that was representative of the total INLEO community. So they said the INLEO community has no Hive power and actually has no Leo power. And the way they got to that number was by obviously cherry picking 125 accounts that fit their narrative, and then saying, let me use this as a focus group to analyze the entire Leo community. And I think one kind of critical piece is, why would you do that when you're on a blockchain? You don't have to pull representative data. It's not like a census poll in real life. We live on a blockchain where all the data is freely accessible. So why would you pull 125 when you could pull all 10,000 plus accounts that are actively using INLEO on a monthly basis, and use that to give an actual number instead of a representative number. We're not we're not restricted by the boundaries of real life where you have to take a census. We have the unrestricted access to all the data. So, I woke up this morning and obviously received a lot of messages about things like this because people do take it at face value. And the only solution I see, because we have put up our own posts and our own data, the only solution I see to this, both now and in the long run, is to have a real-time dashboard where you can see, and this is something that's not going to be a surprise for many of you because you've been requesting it for months. Um, but a real-time dashboard where you can see the current monthly active users on INLEO, and you can see, their activity. You can see how much Hive power they have. You can see exactly how many users are from Dash specifically, and from Splinterland specifically. And then as we add more integration partners, because the goal is to do 10 this year, with, Arbitrum, Solana Foundation, et cetera. As we add more integration partners, you'll be able to track the onboarding activity of each integration partner individually. So that will obviously have a really good impact on, just tracking and data in general. It'll also, I think, create some kind of positive competition, some friendly competition between the integrations. Because you can say, oh, well, Dash, has onboarded 6,900 in two users. That's the actual number that we pulled this morning. And you can look at that, and then you can say that Arbitrum has gotten, 7,300 users since being integrated. And then Dash and Arbitrum can kind of have a friendly competition and say, let's onboard more users. And you can also track, how active those users are. So the threads, the blogs, the Hive power, the Leo power. So it'll create some kind of cool community, um, collaboration and friendly competition around that stuff. And then I think it'll also just squash any of the doubts that are being spread, really just the FUD that's being spread by, this handful of people that are just trying to tear Leo down and give us a bad name. And this is not new. They've done this for a long time. And they don't just do this to Leo, they do it to all, projects on Hive really, or the vast majority. One of these people has launched a bunch of their own projects on Hive that have pretty much all been failures. So it's been a fun ride, but I'm not one for politics and drama, as many of you know. Um, that being said, this funding is really important to do these collaborations. The collaborations will not happen without the funding. So that's why I've been putting a lot of focus and effort into this over the past week. And obviously, sending messages and talking to people and making sure that everybody has the right information and the accurate data, not fake data. So it's been uh, it's been pretty taxing to say the least over the past week to do all this stuff. So I'm looking forward to we did reach the funding line yesterday, but then these posts came out and then we dropped about 20% below the funding line. So we're slowly climbing back now. And I'm aiming to get us back by tomorrow, ideally. And I just want us to get beyond this kind of fighting for funding thing, because the next collaboration is underway. Like it's the technology's been built and we're just testing it. So I want to finish testing this next collaboration and get it rolled out live. But we can't do that without the funding, and we're not going to do it without the funding. So it's really important that we get over this funding line ASAP so we can do this collaboration with the next partner, and then obviously showcase that, just like with Dash, it was extremely successful and can bring in a lot of users and investors. There's no coincidence that the Dash integration went live. This was one of the pieces of data I pulled. The Dash integration went live on November 26th, and Hive went up to, it was at 25 cents, I think, at the time. And within a week or 2 weeks, Hive went from 25 cents to 60 cents. So I'm not going to say that all of that is from, the INLEO Dash integration, but I do think it's a piece of it. And I think that, coinciding with the perpetual listings on different centralized exchanges, and that Dash integration, I think is what drove the Hive price higher. And you can actually see the Dash price went up almost an equivalent amount. Like the charts actually, if you remove the logos, the charts look almost identical. So I don't find that to be a coincidence. And and I do think that we brought a lot of investors into Hive. So we're gonna put up this dashboard and with real time data. And as these people try to continue to slander essentially the Leo name, we'll just point people to the dashboard. We'll say, don't take our word for it. Don't read our posts. Don't take their word for it and don't read their posts. Just go to the dashboard and you can see all the data in real time. And if you want to verify that data, we'll even provide the APIs where you can download the data for yourself and sift through it and make sure that it's all accurate. So I think that's the only real short-term and long-term path to squashing all of this, FUD that's been created around us. Um, So yeah, that's my DHF rant. That's my politics rant. I'm just sick of the politics, and I want to get back to building things and collaborating with projects that want to grow.
Fun times.
Yep,
I don't even
absolutely.
I don't even know if I want to bother commenting. I think whatever. I think my demeanor. I look like Jason Kidd at the press conference when Luca got traded yesterday. For those that pay attention to basketball. Point is, he looked defeated and very unhappy. And after 8 years on Hive, that's pretty much what I feel like right now, which I think sums up everything. Apparently, the narrative is drive people away. It's just,
Yeah, it's just it's distracting from the end goal, which is everybody on Hive, every stakeholder on Hive should be aligned to do the things that will grow Hive the most. And, if that
you
were more
know,
the case, we would be in a much different place.
exactly. So here's the thing, at the end of the day, I'm a content creator and an investor. That's what I am. Like, I'm not a DApp operator. I'm not a DApp builder. I'm never going to be. I don't know how to code. I don't want to know how to code. And I don't care whether it's INLEO or some other DApp that helps the Hive blockchain grow exponentially. All I care is that there's an environment for that to happen. And it's been 8 years of the same nonsense. And the narrative hasn't changed. It's just it just literally seems like there's an overall, you know, I don't know what word I'm looking for. Just yeah, it's frustrating. I'm just I like emotionally feel like I've capitulated when it's come to the Hive blockchain. It's just and I think that's probably been happening over the last couple of years anyway, as I've created less content. Um, because like the saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't shove its freaking head in the water and make it drink, right? So,
Yep.
when the thing's gonna change, literally, it's the same theme since, I've been around since 2017. It's just the same theme. And you know what? It is what it is. Maybe it's people that are, you know, profiting from Hive, trying to protect their golden goose, which, hey, more power to you if I get that if that's the case. At the end of the day, everyone looks out for number one. Um, or maybe it's just whatever. A lot of, people that are not pro community. I don't like, I'm at a loss at this point, basically. I'm involved in a lot of different communities, overall, non-crypto, especially. And I see the ones that thrive and I see the ones that don't. And all I'm saying is it's been 8 years of seeing shit that isn't pro community growth. Um, it literally feels like it tries to drive people away. And I mean, listen, I couldn't even onboard a normie until Leo Finance existed. Like I got like one person onto like Hive.blog. And then I was able to onboard a ton of normies onto Leo Finance, but you know, just keeping them was impossible because, there's just the overall vibe. So yeah, it's been interesting. And at the end of the day, hopefully with more growth will become a overall change in the vibe, change in the narrative. So, because something's got to give.
Someone's got to give for sure. I mean, I think it's, and many people have said this. The Dash team said this as well. Like when I met them, I met Joel in Croatia and was showing him in Leo in person. And it's similar to what you just said, where you were, pretty much unable to onboard people until, Leo Finance and INLEO. it's very much the same type of sentiment, which is there needs to be a very seamless onboarding flow, a really easy sign up process, and a platform UI that is easy to understand and easy to use and easy to teach people to use. And InLeo built that by essentially taking the best of X and other social media platforms, making it on Hive, and making the sign up process for Hive, easier than it's ever been. And having those things in place is why INLEO is the number one onboarder of new accounts on Hive. And that is an irrefutable piece of evidence and data, is that INLEO is the number one onboarder of new accounts on the Hive blockchain. Um, and we onboard more accounts per year than all the other projects combined. And that's not to be, a negatively competitive thing. It's, competition is good. I'm a free market capitalist, and I want every project on Hive to succeed massively because that's just a rising tide. It raises all ships. The more users that create Hive accounts, the more potential users there are for InLeo, for Splinterlands, for 3Speak, and for all these different projects. So we just want more users. I don't, I'm agnostic to where those users come from and what they do when they're on Hive. I just want them on Hive. And I've made that very clear over the years. Um,
Yeah, you want people transacting on the Hive
on
blockchain at
chain.
the end of the day.
Yeah, and
So
I own a
because
lot of Hive. I want
yeah,
Hive to be valuable and you
and
know,
to an extent, it doesn't even matter whether they're like buying and powering up Hive. Like if they're transacting on the Hive blockchain, right? There's, with all the dApps out there now, there's essentially now net benefit from people just transacting, right? There is flywheels essentially in place that are creating, whether it's just revenue or whatever it is. Could even be attention, right? We live in the attention economy. So that's, I think, what's frustrating about it all. And the answer's always been building the user base, building the community. But yeah, so like I'm looking at some of the comments and like, iJat said, the same phenomenon is driven by members, essentially like people, like it happens in any community. And it's like exactly like, and Cal mentioned it before we went live, like apparently notorious for saying like, humans are gonna human or people are gonna people. And this is true. So where does the narrative get driven from, right? It comes from those that essentially are quote unquote, in control or whatever, or the powers that be, right? So any community I'm a part of, right? The culture is driven by the base members, right? And you see it even in companies and corporations, right? Like if you have like if you have good lead like whatever lead your leadership is directing is where you're going to generally end up. So if you have a leadership of, like let's say an abundance mentality and a perspective of inclusion, then that's generally what's going to happen, as opposed to if you have a mindset of, lack, so to speak, or just like, holding on to, what's mine, um, that's not going to create a positive outcome. Like you're not gonna grow from that, right? That's like coming from literally like a perspective of lack as opposed to abundance, right? And this is just an example, but so that's my point earlier about it's just the same thing for 8 years now, and I guess that's because at the end of the day, the higher level influences, um, their perspective and the attitude, I guess, isn't the right one. And I mean, I'm not even saying that. I'm not even saying that as like a negative. I'm just saying that as like that's generally what it is. Like look at the trends, right? Like I'm an investor. I pay attention to trends. Well, look at the trends. So, and I don't care who the people, persons, or whatever are, like, because it's changed over the years, right? In terms of, top witnesses and things like that. And um but whoever it is, it's just like, yeah, we got to do better. Like, we got to do better. Everyone, like, you got to do better. And especially those that, have, either a high level witness or those that have, one of the top dApps on Hive. Like, at the end of the day is we got to do better. And, if you're already busting your ass and killing yourself for this blockchain, it's tough to hear you got to do better, but you got to do better. Like we all got to do better, and a lot of that comes down to, you know, the mindset and the outlook. And like enough of the high school antics. Like for 8 years, I've been watching basically like I feel like I'm sitting in my high school cafeteria. Like that's literally what it looks like watching the interactions overall on the Hive blockchain in terms of the powers that be, like the big players. It's just like, all right, guys, enough. Like I'm done with the high school cafeteria. So.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not like, this isn't like, I'm sure someone's going to get offended. Like, I'm not hating on anyone right now. I'm saying this, like, we need to do better, people. Like, I don't care who the person is. Like, slot someone else in. I'm going to say the same effing thing. Like, we need to do better. Like, just, man, like, grow the pie together and then everyone benefits. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm done with my rant.
Yeah.
Um,
I
what
agree with you
uh
though.
what let's jump. I mean, like I see plenty of comments and whatnot, but we can circle back to them because it's already like hell, quarter to the hour. Let's touch on in Leo in terms of what's the latest. You have any updates and whatnot to share, and then after that we can kind of dive into questions.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been pulling up questions in a new tab while you guys have been talking too, so keep them coming. We've been really focused on the collaborations part of things, and that includes and really starts with LeoDex. So we're making a lot of updates and upgrades to LeoDex, making it smoother and a better swap experience in general. So the one-click Hive swaps have been actually performing super well. I shared a screenshot earlier in the threadcast. There's been a lot of swaps this morning. I think there's been like probably 30 or 40 Hive and HBD swaps using LeoDex this morning. So, that activity has really been growing, and I'm excited to see that. And I want to see more swap activity. Like I said, and I've said this publicly a lot, my goal for the year is, if we can get 10% or more of the total Hive trading volume from centralized exchanges moved to LeoDex, I think that would be really incredible. Really moved to dexes in general. I'm kind of agnostic to like if it's LeoDex or somewhere else. Right now, LeoDex is the only, real dex for trading Hive, in terms of the multi-chain universe out there. Um, so, my goal with LeoDex has always been to bring that trading volume and get people to do cross-chain swaps. I've been you guys know this very well, but for years, I've been a believer in cross-chain in many ways, many forms, including swaps, but also, social media, et cetera. I think everything's moving cross-chain. So, INLEO's been very, very well positioned to continue to push into that cross-chain world and bring Hive, into the cross-chain world. Um, so doing the Leo deck stuff first is really important so that we can have swaps working really well. And again, this is a big thing that a lot of people want to see on Hive. And I've been talking to a lot of different Hive stakeholders, throughout this proposal process as well. What a lot of people want to see is people investing in Hive. They want to see people trading, investing, in Hive and HBD and utilizing Hive and HBD as cryptocurrencies, especially with HBD payments. With LeoDex's rails and allowing cross-chain trading through them, we're going to see a lot more activity in terms of people buying, selling, trading, holding, staking, Hive and HBD. So making LeoDex bulletproof and really good, and the user experience needs to be, really incredible, and it needs to just work, as Joel from the Dash team said. It needs to just work, and I think we've really gotten to that place. It really works super well, and a few guys have found, a few bugs here and there, and then we fix them quickly, and we continue to refine the product. So definitely continue to use LeoDex so that we can continue to find those bugs and fix them. So just keep reporting them with the hashtag feedback threads. It does help a lot when we go in and fix stuff. So again, LeoDex has been a huge focus for us, making those swaps really, really flawless. The really exciting thing, so while we've been doing all that, we've also been building up the new backend for LeoDex. So this backend actually allows us to integrate Rango, Thorchain, and Chainflip all at the same time. So right now, LeoDex only uses Maya, and then it uses our Hive aggregation technology to plug Hive into the Maya cross-chain swaps. Um, with our new backend update, we're actually going to be aggregating to Thorchain, Chainflip, and Rango all at the same time. They'll all go live at the same time. It's actually very similar. If you're kind of familiar with the Thorchain stuff, there's a team within the Thorchain ecosystem called ThorSwap, and they built something called SwapKit. It's been a really incredibly successful product for them, and we've essentially built our own version of SwapKit for LeoDex. So that allows us to integrate all three of those protocols. So now we'll have Maya, Rango, Thorchain, Chainflip, and our Hive aggregation technology all working seamlessly together. So that means that we can essentially list any cryptocurrency on the planet because Rango actually taps into centralized exchanges too. Um, actually, I've been working with the devs because we need to kind of cut down the list of available assets, just because it creates such a burden on the platform. So we're cutting down on certain assets because really you can trade if something's like a $50,000 market cap token, you could even trade it. So we're going to kind of pick and choose, especially at launch, and we're not going to just list every like willy-nilly token out there. But we're going to have Solana, we're going to have Chainflip, we're going to have all sorts of integrations and also access to a lot more liquidity. Since we'll be able to aggregate to all these different chains simultaneously. So this is going to tap a lot more liquidity into LeoDex. It's also going to bring a lot more potential trading volume and swap revenue. So as many of you know, 100% of the swap revenue actually buys Leo off the market. So the swap revenue thus far has been not super high, but I think one of the key missing pieces has been aggregation to other chains and other protocols so that we can have better liquidity metrics. So this aggregation is going to have, a very big impact on the potential trading volume on LeoDex. It's going to bring a lot more potential volume and just users in general. So the kind of first key piece of that is launching this kind of swap kit version that we've built for LeoDex. And then also after that, we'll be integrating more wallet options. So just allowing a lot of different wallets to utilize LeoDex. You guys may have noticed one of the wallet integrations already went live. It was actually, it was XDeFi before, and then they rebranded to Control, and a few things had to be updated on LeoDex in order to allow people to log in with Control. So we made the updates that we needed to make, and now you can log in with Control. So that is live as of right now. So that we just pushed that like a few days ago. So you can use Control Wallet on LeoDex. We're going to add more wallet options. And I think it's just a lot of focus is going to go into LeoDex because, it's like I said, we've got these collaborators, these massive foundations that have, anywhere from $1 billion in market cap to $50 billion in market cap. I think it's super bullish for Hive and for INLEO and for our user base. And I think it's really important that we have the rails in place so that if these, users come in and they say, hey, I do want to own some Hive and stake it, that they have a decentralized way to swap into Hive from whatever their native asset is. So, that may be Solana, it may be, it is Dash and Dash is already live, or it may be Flip, or it may be, Ethereum or Bitcoin, or any other asset out there. Whoever we collaborate with needs to have easy ways to swap in and out. So we're making that all happen. And then the payments side of things is working really well. So a lot of you guys have already been playing around with being able to buy INLEO Premium using any crypto. So now you can use SPS, you can use Leo, you can use Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cacao, Rune, Dash, and soon you'll also be able to use Solana and any assets on Solana. So all these LeoDex integrations are bringing all of that as well. Um, and then also related to the payment side and just kind of getting into what we're working on future wise, I am working with a local company right now to see if we can release, a beta pilot program of LeoDex Leo Merchants. So the Leo Merchants POS system to some local businesses in my area. So that's kind of where I'm going to start. I'm going to get like 25 pilot POS systems out there. So that will allow it's pretty exciting. There's, one of them is a gas station. So essentially what they're going to do is they're going to put this POS system inside the gas station. And if you go in there and you have, and part of the reason I'm doing this is because a lot of these gas stations have Bitcoin ATMs, so they're kind of crypto friendly already. Um, so one of the things I'm doing is we're going to be putting a POS system in, which is an iPad. And if a customer wants to pay in crypto to the gas station, the merchant can stand there on the iPad and they can, ring up the order, turn the iPad, and the customer can select what crypto they want to pay in. So it could be like Bitcoin, Lightning Network or Solana or Ethereum or whatever, or even Dash or Rune, and also Hive, HBD, like all that's going to all be integrated. So everything that's on inleo.io/premium right now will be available on Leo merchants, at the start. The customer can pick which crypto they've got and want to pay in, and then it'll generate a QR code, and then the customer scans a QR code in their wallet. So they may have a Bitcoin wallet on their phone, or if you have Hive keychain on your phone, you'll scan that, and then it'll literally just you just pay it has the pre-filled amount. You pay the amount, and then it flows it through the LeoDex, Leo merchant rails, converts it into whatever the merchant has chosen to receive as the crypto payment option, and then the payment's done. So, for example, the merchant, like the gas station, the one I've been talking to, they want to receive USDC on Arbitrum. So they basically just want to get dollars. That being said, they want to get dollars on, in crypto, and they want to be able to accept crypto. So what LeoDex will allow is this merchant to generate a QR code for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, Hive, HBD, etc. And the customer gets to pay in whatever they want. But then when it's sent to the merchant, it's sent as USDC on Arbitrum automatically. And all of that happens through LeoDex on the back end. The very same way that it happens if you buy premium right now using Dash, Hive, etc. So I'm really excited about that, and getting a few pilot devices out there so that we can refine the technology and really just get it ready for scale is going to be huge. So I actually I really believe that LeoDex volume by the end of 2025 is just going to be astronomical because payments payments themselves, like go look at like Visa, MasterCard. Like you don't have to take my word for it. Look at like Visa, MasterCard, Stripe, these different payment processors and credit card companies and how much money they make, and transactions they process is utterly insane. So combine that with the fact that every time a transaction happens, it's aggregating through the Leo pools, and through LeoDex. So now that has to get rebalanced after each transaction happens. So it creates two-sided volume instantaneously because arbitrageurs are going to bring that price back into line. So this has been, yeah, I see Self-Help for Trolls said, damn, Cal, this is so much to build, but it's brilliant. At some point, I hope to let my normie friends pay with normie money and let me receive Leo or Hive. Yeah, it's, this has been in the works for like over 6 months. But we've really gotten it to a place that it actually works. So if you go to inleo.io/premium again, and try to buy premium using any crypto, you'll literally see the things that we've been building for a few months now, live, working in action. And it literally just works. Like that's that video I keep sharing of Joel from Dash. He did it. He used Dash to buy INLEO Premium, and he literally, like, his response was, "It just works. Like you hit pay now, and it just works." Um, so I think this is going to be huge. I think this could be, honestly, I think this could dwarf a lot of the other things that we do. Dare I say, even dwarf Leo AI. But we'll see. It's like I said, it's building a payment processor has not been easy. Building this system, the back end has not been easy. And then now working with this POS provider, I think actually the UI for it is pretty easy because we're just creating a QR code. This tech already exists. The hard part was creating the back end and then giving them the APIs that they can just plug into. So uh, we will uh, we will bring payments to the masses, crypto payments. So pay in anything and the merchant receives in whatever they want. So pay in anything, receive anything. That's been the goal for a long time. And I'm excited that we've gotten to the point where it's like literally live. So I'll definitely make sure to get a video of me going into this gas station at some point and like paying Hive to buy like an energy drink. And I'll like scan with Hive keychain, pay, whatever it is, 5 Hive, and then I get my energy drink, and then I'll show the other side where the merchant sees that they received, 3 USDC on Arbitrum. I think it's going to be really exciting.
That'll be pretty cool.
I
That'd
see
be
Ahmad
really
Manga
cool.
said paying in credit cards and receiving Hive would be cool. Yeah, I mean, the fiat thing is where things get really complicated. That being said, consider that, and I think this is how this is going to play out. The same way that we are able to aggregate Hive and HBD swaps and also Hive layer 2 tokens like Leo, SPS, etc., to the Maya protocol, and then very soon to Thorchain, Rango, Chainflip, and others, is very much the same way that we could potentially tap into other crypto payment processors and allow them to tap into Hive and HBD as well. So like there are people out there that are working on and actually have released crypto credit cards and the ability to buy crypto with a credit card, like that's already a thing. Um, so imagine that you're able to, we're able to reach one of these companies and say, okay, we want to list Hive and HBD, but you don't have the support for it. What if you listed our LeoDex aggregator so that when a user wants to buy Hive, you just call the LeoDex API, you buy USDC on Arbitrum because they already have it, and then it sends the USDC Arbitrum to LeoDex, and then LeoDex sends you the Hive. It swaps the USDC for Hive and then sends it to the end user. So I think there's a lot of workarounds and ways that we can get to that end goal using the aggregator.
I should be looking at questions, but I'm actually writing a post.
Typical Mitch with the multitasking
The
Mitch.
clickety clack would be
Got
me.
to rename him from Scaredy Cat Guide to Multitasking Mitch.
All right, there you go.
Um,
Multi-cat.
the multi-cat.
I mean, whatever. I'm kind of just, writing a post that's sort of a call to action for the Hive blockchain.
Just don't get me in trouble.
I'm not even
At
talking
least
about
more trouble
you.
than I'm already in.
I'm not talking to you about you or anyone. I'm talking about just the Hive blockchain and how we all need to come together.
I think your opinion is a very good, unbiased. I mean, you still have some biases, but you are you're someone that just looks at, as an investor, like how can the chain be better? And you really don't care how we get there. You just want it to be better.
I don't
And I think
like,
that's a good value, like a valuable point of view.
if INLEO is the horse that leads that wagon, then great. If it's something else, then great also. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, I don't really care um what leads Hive to a better place as long as it happens. Um and yeah, obviously like when it comes to INLEO, I saw potential, so hence me, posting from in Leo and stacking Leo tokens. But you know, if there's another option that shows promise, then I'll invest in that one too. So it's been an interesting ride. Can't really say it's been enjoyable overall. So the biggest benefit from the Hive blockchain for me has actually just been the people I've met. You know, there's probably I'd say a dozen total people that I've met in real life, and half of them, I've seen multiple times and are, people I consider friends. Um, so there's been that, which I appreciate, and I appreciate those that are active on the Hive blockchain that are, um, you know, uh, public with their presence, so to speak, right? Because there's plenty of people that remain in, you know, anonymous, which is fine. Like that's everyone's choice whether they want to be private or public, but I can't chop it up with you. I can't be friends with you if you're anonymous. So obviously I'm going to potentially support those that are because I can build rapport with them. I can build trust with them instead of just, blindly trusting some anonymous, entity. And that is also how humans work because it goes back to, humans are going to human. I'll
Yeah.
keep beating that drum for as long as I live. So yeah, but good times. Anyway,
Very interesting times. Can't guarantee joy, but you can guarantee that it's going to be interesting. Um, I did see a few good questions.
Task has got jokes. I know, Task. We had a great time that night.
I
I've not P.S. I've not met Task.
don't think anybody has.
But I'm making a joke off of his joke. So it's like, gotta one up.
Gotta
So
hit him with the one up.
gotta hit back with the jokes.
Um, yeah, I see a few questions on LeoDex. So let's while we're just on the topic, we'll keep we'll keep on it. African Man said, this is my first AMA of the year. Super excited. Welcome to 2025. Duke Love said, I was going to be disappointed if we did not have any haters in Leo onwards and forward. Yeah, I agree. I think, being polarizing, it kind of comes with the territory, especially if you try to change the way that things have been done. If you try to reshape the status quo, you're definitely going to be polarizing. And I've been no stranger to that. Um, iJats had a good question. Wouldn't it be more impactful to roll out the Rango, Thorchain, and Chainflip integrations one after the other to laser focus and receive each of their communities in its due time compared to rolling them out at the same time? Yeah, these aren't going to be so. So just to clarify, this is the new kind of I kind of related it to SwapKit because this is the new backend for LeoDex. So we're rolling out LeoDex support for those three different protocols. And we actually have to roll them all out at the same time. I mean, we could technically disable them, but it wouldn't make much sense. Um, so we're just going to enable the swapping of all those different assets. And then we are going to promote it really heavily to those communities and say, LeoDex is now open as a multi-chain swap protocol for literally any crypto. So right now we have a list of cryptos that is what's available on Maya and then what's available through our Hive aggregation technology. This new kind of back-end swapping system that we've built that will allow us to aggregate all the different protocols really just allows us to swap more assets and it gives us more optionality. And it also gives us access to more liquidity because we have all those new protocols being added. And then it will essentially allow you to say, do you want to swap on a specific protocol or do you want to just swap wherever it's the cheapest or do you want to swap wherever it's the fastest? You'll be able to choose those different options as the end user. The goal there is we'll roll that out and then we'll start getting swap volume and that's obviously a great thing. And then that just is like the kind of lead domino before we can do the collaborations with certain ecosystems. For example, the Solana Foundation that we're going to do this collaboration with. We need to have Solana integrated on LeoDex in order to make that possible. So that requires obviously the chain flip and Rango integrations before we can release Solana on INLEO. So I think what you might be thinking of is the INLEO collaborations, but those are kind of two separate pieces. Like the lead domino is to release all of this stuff on LeoDex, and that's going to happen very soon, probably inside of 2 weeks from now. Um, and then from there, grow the swap volume and then release the collaborations one by one. The plan is to do them like about once a month. But like I keep saying, we need the funding, the proposal to go through in order to start doing the INLEO side of those collaborations. But the lead domino, regardless, is to get it all on LeoDex. So that's what we've been really focused on. Makashima said Leo merchants can be a massive revenue source for LeoDex. That means more buybacks for Leo and higher prices for all of us investing right now. Yeah, it's the goal is grow the LeoDex volumes, grow the revenue. A lot of people, if you wonder, what value proposition is that for Hive? I mean, there's a lot of them, including that you can trade Hive and Hive assets in a decentralized way now. Another big value prop is that, Leo is a layer two token on Hive. So for every dollar in market cap Leo gains, that is a theoretical dollar in market cap added to Hive because Leo sits on top of Hive. And that works for any L2 on Hive. So, that's why I'm always rooting for different Hive projects to succeed, is that, every dollar in market cap that any Hive project adds to itself is a dollar in market cap value for Hive itself. Alarsar said, great to see developments continue and push forwards. Decentralized is amazing to hear. Yeah, I think decentralized swapping is extremely important. Mod Manga said 10 integrations. Let's make it happen. I agree. Let's make it happen. We hit the funding line yesterday, and then obviously, they got a hold of one whale that had 6 million voting power, and he voted the return proposal. So that set us back a little bit, but we are slowly but surely climbing our way back. Wananda said, INLEO is all about growth on the Hive blockchain. We keep leading the way. Yeah, we've always been a growth mindset and disruptive mindset. And like I said before, that can be polarizing because to some people that's a great thing, and to other people that's not what they want to see. They'd rather see the status quo, and they, like the power that they have, and they like things, exactly the way they are. That being said, disruptors always win in the long run. So, things change. The only thing that doesn't change in life is that things change. Uh, Mr. Hive said, "How do we move forward from these setbacks?" I assume you're talking about the DHF. Yeah, I mean, we were at like I think at the start of the weekend we were under like 40%. We were at like 40% of the way there. So we were, me and Eric and Nomad Soul, grinded over the weekend to get to 100% by yesterday. Um, so we're still at 80% now. It is a setback to have. Obviously, now we have to get 6 million more, Hive power voting for us, but that's not impossible to get. I mean, we are talking to anywhere from, large stakeholders that have 5 million Hive power, all the way to people that have as low as like 1,000 or 500 Hive power. A big thing for me has been, getting a lot of community support, especially from like, dolphins and orcas that have stake on the Hive blockchain. So that's anywhere from like, 10,000 to 100,000 Hive power. I think it says something when the majority of, medium-sized stakeholders are voting for something. I think INLEO's proposal has more votes than most of the other proposals. From that class of users that are like 10 to 100,000 Hive power. And I think that really says something about INLEO, that, we are the project of the people, for the people, by the people. Like our goal has always just been to grow the chain. And I think that that's really apparent by the people that vote for the INLEO proposal. So we will just, how do we move forward? We'll just keep moving forward. That's how we've always done it. People said we could never make Project Blank happen. People have said all sorts of things about INLEO and our ability to deliver. And I think over time it's been very apparent that we just continue to deliver. And when things look dark, we just always push through. And as the saying goes, if you're going through hell, keep going. Uh,
Huh. Glutton for punishment.
I am. If you guys knew me in real life, you would know that I am a glutton for
I,
punishment.
I clearly am because I'm still here.
Yeah, I think most of us are, to be honest with you. Ahmad Manga said, I want other projects to do well on Hive too. I'm not an INLEO loyalist or loyal person. I just want the blockchain as a whole to become better. Yeah, I mean, I'm very much the same way. For some reason I get painted as like this anti-Hive or anti other project or other interface guy. I think people just like to paint tribalism, onto people. I've never been anti anybody. Anti uh, I'm anti-stagnation. I just want to see forward progress and momentum. So if you know me, and many of you guys do, I'm a very much a momentum person. I'm always pushing for the next thing. We're always pushing the next obstacle over and trying to get to the next checkpoint. And that's how I've always been, and that's how I always will be. I don't care who does it. It doesn't have to be me. I just want progress and I want growth. Um, Mr. Hive also said, I'm not happy with all the politics going on. It's very frustrating. Yeah, I'm not happy with it either. I want to get past it and I want to get onto the collaborations and what we've promised with the proposal. So I'm excited I want to get over the funding line and not have to think about it, and just have the funding that we need to do to do the collaborations that we've set out to do, that will ultimately grow Hive in a way that, has been unprecedented. Really, the Dash growth has been kind of unprecedented for Hive. Like I said, there's been over 6,900, active Dash users, and we have the APIs to pull that data. So I'm going to get that dashboard built, and that might be a nice little segue into the INLEO side of developments. I kind of talked about the LeoDex side of things, but I've shifted a lot of the devs over today specifically to building out that stats dashboard I mentioned. So we'll hopefully have that ready by the end of today. But we're going to have a real-time stats dashboard that plugs into all these APIs and shows the current monthly active users. It also will show the current Hive power of those monthly active users and the current Leo power of those monthly active users. Because I know that someone wanted to cherry pick 100 random accounts and say that that was indicative of the Leo user base, which it obviously isn't. So this dashboard will show that. It'll also break it down. I'm actually just going to share a screenshot of the. So just take this at face value that it's like a raw design. It's not what it's not even a finalized design. It's just a raw. It's a raw starting point for the devs as we start to develop it. But I told the devs we need to have this done today. So expect to see this rolled out to the UI today. But this is essentially what it's going to look like. Again, very raw drawing, so don't hold me to what you're seeing. But it shows the monthly active users, it shows the Hive power of everyone who's logged in, it shows the Leo power of everyone who's logged in, it shows the trend of the monthly active users growing, it shows new signups per day. And then below it is actually pretty exciting. It shows the collaborations with each ecosystem that we currently have live. So right now, that's obviously Dash and Splinterlands. And then as we add each collaboration, you'll just see them kind of stack up there. And then you'll see the individual, how many users are from that collaboration. You'll see the threads that they've made in the last month. You'll see the posts that they've made in the last month. You'll see the Hive power that those users have in their account. And you'll see the Leo power that those users have in their account. So you'll be able to track this dashboard in real time and see the growth for your own eyes. You won't have to take my word for it. You won't have to read blog posts from other people to take their word for it. It'll just be a live dashboard that you can refresh at any time. And we're also going to have links out to the APIs themselves. So if you wanted to independently download that data for yourself and like put it in a spreadsheet or whatever, you'll be able to do that. So this is really important to me, and that's obviously why I'm rush ordering it with the devs. Is the kind of constant political battle of data is really stupid because everybody's pulling random data. Like there's no standard for how people are pulling data. So like I said, some people are pulling, 125 random users and saying that they're using that as like a census to estimate the rest of the user base, which is just completely inaccurate. And what I've always done is pull the entire data set. So that means that I'm pulling a lot of data. In order to show what the current state of things is. That being said, people say that I'm, then confusing people because it's a lot of data or whatever. So, I just the dashboard is to squash, it's to like be the mic drop of the conversation and just to say, here is all of the data in a very visually appealing way. And if you still don't believe it, download the raw data for yourself and dig through it. But we are not going to play this game of cherry picking data, creating your own data sets completely and just making shit up. I'm tired of that. And I'm tired of seeing posts with people making up this data. So this dashboard will end that conversation. And again, I'm just sick of the conversation. I'm sick of the noise about it. And I just really want to put a stop to that conversation and move on and move forward because, we're developing a lot of cool stuff. I mentioned the stuff with LeoDex and the Leo merchants and then all the collaborations. And I'm sick of the state that we're in right now. And I just want to move on from the politics and get back to building, which is obviously what I enjoy.
Man, I'll tell you, Task is definitely chomping at the bit for Leo AI. He said, bring out AI features and services on INLEO and let the rest try and catch up. He's probably not wrong. Probably not wrong. Leo AI certainly would be a game changer. That'll probably be when I finally start using AI, just because it'll be so convenient. Because I'm like, oh, it's already here, as opposed to me like literally being too lazy to just go over to like ChatGPT or somewhere. We need Leo AI to save the cat from falling behind in the times.
Yeah, I think the first implementation of AI are going to be a few different agents that will essentially just help you with things. So like one of them is a chatbot that will help you with Q&A. So if you have a question about like how the rewards pool works or something, it'll be able to tell you. So that's obviously going to be really useful for new users who may not understand. Like they'll be like, what is Hive? What is Hive Power? What are resource credits? What is HBD? And it'll be able to, you'll be able to ask it those questions and it'll give you intelligent replies. Yeah, that's funny.
I'm actually
When
typing that
using a
prompt
sample,
now.
anyone can pick a bias sample to match whatever the conclusions they want to make. Imagine walking into a hospital to get the statistics on general health of the people. Full data set is the only honest way. I 100% agree. That's from Makashima. I absolutely agree with that statement, and I have always been one to say let's pull all of the data. Let's like over. I mean, and Eric is the one that helps me with all the data. My number one statement is always overwhelm with data. Like it should be every piece of data imaginable that we can pull is what we pull, and we pull everybody, all the accounts, all the people, all the users, all the activity. Like it takes, I mean, you can ask Eric, it takes him hours to just to process the data from his computer. Like it's like he'll run the query and then just have to leave his computer on to process that data. Um, and that has always been my approach. And I'm not the approach of sampling a data set and then extrapolating it. Like that's a kind of it's a stupid way of pulling data, to be honest with you. And I mean stupid not in a derogatory way. I mean stupid as in it's like not smart. It's like an unintelligent way of doing it. It's like going out and digging a field and you have a bulldozer sitting there and then you have a shovel and you're choosing to use the shovel to dig a dig hole to dig. That was a tongue twister. To dig a big hole, you're using the shovel instead of a bulldozer and you have both sitting right there. Why wouldn't you just use the bulldozer? Yeah, it might be more expensive, it might be more time consuming in terms of the setup, and it may seem kind of dramatic, I mean, if you want to say that. But why would you choose to use a sample when you can pull all the data? So Ahmad Manga said, "Oh, that's a mock-up. I didn't catch that." Well, that must mean the mock-up is pretty good if it convinced you that it was real. Yeah, that's just a mock-up. I woke up this morning, obviously, to all these different messages, and I said to the devs, we need to have this dashboard out literally today. So I just went out and I made this mock-up really quick. Uh, we've already been building out these APIs for a long time. So the API, I would say the APIs are probably 80% complete. So the devs are just going to complete the APIs and then finish out build this UI that I designed, and then we'll launch it. It'll probably be inleo.io/stats if I had to guess. Don't quote me on that yet, but I'm pretty sure that's where we're going to put it. So it'll be a new page on INLEO and it should be live by the end of today. And it'll allow you to track all of our stats in real time. So, and then, it's just a bunch of core stats for now, really just the stuff that people have been questioning on the Hive blockchain, because I think it's important to answer these questions right now. Over time, we can definitely add, different metrics and things and KPIs, as time goes on. But right now, it's just the key stuff that people have been questioning. Yeah, Ahmad Manga. If people didn't vote for INLEO because they don't agree or like it, you don't mind. But if misinformation is spread, that has to be corrected. I 100% agree. If you're going to vote because you just don't believe in it, that's one thing. That's totally okay. And, I will, and I've done this with a few people over DMs. I'll ask for their feedback and I'll say, hey, I'm not trying to convince you to vote. I'd obviously love to have your vote. But I would love to understand your position and get some feedback from you on why you feel that way, just because it'll help me understand things and maybe I can improve on some things. So, when people have real feedback and they have a real reason why they don't want to vote because they just simply don't want to do that, um, that's a whole different type of conversation than, some user on Hive spreading misinformation by creating a sample data set, and then spreading that misinformation to get us, to then get us unvoted out of the proposals. So completely different conversations.
I have an unpopular opinion. I believe that anyone that is a top 20 witness or anyone that runs a major dApp on the Hive blockchain should in some way, shape, or form be somewhat public or somewhat doxed. Doesn't have to be fully doxed, but somewhat present. I actually kind of have a problem with people being 100% anonymous that have a huge, um, bearing on the direction, outcome, and decisions of the Hive blockchain. And again, it's like anything else, right? Something comes with responsibility. If you're not a top 20 witness, then fine, be anonymous, right? If you're not a dApp owner, fine, be anonymous. If you are just a heavy stakeholder, like let's just say someone decides, I want to buy a million Hive, right? And they're just an anonymous account, they can be because they're just an investor. They're not making decisions, right? Maybe I'm old school. I want to know who it is that's making decisions for me. I want to know who it is I'm supporting. So um, that doesn't mean people should fully dox, but at least like show your face and have a conversation. Face to a name. We're humans at the end of the day. I don't care how much blockchain and technology and AI evolves. People are meant to communicate with each other. People are not meant to be alone. So my unpopular opinion, if you are in a position of power on the Hive blockchain, you should not be 100% anonymous because if you are, why? Privacy, I get it, but is that just straight fear-based? And why do you have that fear? Like, I don't, I just, I kind of don't. And this is coming from someone whose name is literally Scaredy Cat, right? So if I'm not hiding, right, and I have my fears, like I don't want to piss people off. I don't want someone magically knocking at my door, right? But at the end of the day, live a life where no one really wants to do that. But yeah, unpopular opinion. I think that fully anonymous for large decision makers on any blockchain is not a good look. And even other blockchains, like for instance, like Thorchain, pretty much just had a blow up for lack of a better term. And the powers that be, for the most part, did like a live spaces, right? And yeah, like some of them have whatever their username is. They didn't use their real name, but they were still on there live having a conversation on video, figuring out, all right, what are the proposals? What's our next best step to save, the mess that's happened, to unwind the mess that's happened, right? So, um, those that are willing to do that, I'm always gonna have, more respect for, and it's like I said, that's just an example of it happening on another chain. So, and again, unpopular opinion. I'm sure some people don't even care. And maybe I would care less if the last 8 years didn't suck. Um, but just a random food for thought. And again, I'm not calling anyone out. I'm talking about in general. So you can swap in any faceless name and swap out any faceless name because they've changed over the years. I've seen, for instance, the top 20 witness list have, a lot of turnover over the past 8 years. Um, and that's fine. And maybe it's actually not. Like, yes, you want fresh blood, but at the same time, does that also mean that people are abandoning the project because they get fed up? I don't know. But yes, manga, you can disagree and you're welcome to. Like that's why I said unpopular opinion, because that's apparently what I'm good at in life, having an opinion that is the minority. But so
Yeah,
maybe that's
no, I mean, I think, and um, it's okay to have differing opinions. That's especially indicative of how Hive is a decentralized blockchain, very similar to Bitcoin. I mean, there's people on Bitcoin, as a network that don't agree with each other, and that's okay. They all still believe in Bitcoin, and at the end of the day, they'll all come together if it takes everyone collaborating to make Bitcoin survive. We saw that with the, Steam hostile takeover. A lot of people that didn't agree with each other came together and made Hive possible. Um, and that's okay to have disagreeing opinions. And I think the whole thing where like if you say something that someone doesn't like, them then turning around and attacking you like you're in high school, that's, and you said that before, Mitch, like that's the thing that we need to get rid of. Like it's childish and it distracts people from the end goal, which is to grow Hive. And that's why I've always, stayed away from politics in general. I've always kind of not gotten involved, and there was a big reason for that. Um, for that, I never liked it. I never got into it. I
Well,
hate doing it. I
you don't
hate
have
the
a choice.
campaigning. I hate it all. And yeah,
You don't
I
have,
don't have a choice now, and we want to
as yeah.
grow, and we want to collaborate and build something that we need Hive's help in order to build. So yeah, now I have to get into the campaigning and the politicking, and it's just a lot of stuff I
And
don't
so
like.
there's my point right there, right? It's just like there's certain things that come with the territory, and if you don't want to deal with those things, you don't do those things. So case in point, like, I'll give an example as far as like work, right? I've been asked repeatedly, by my friends like from the real estate investing communities, right? I did some coaching for a while, and then I've been asked many times to basically be like a full-time coach. But the responsibilities that come with that, I don't want to deal with. I don't want to have a group of people that basically have access to me 24/7, helping them invest in real estate, right? Regardless of like what I potentially am, can be paid. So therefore, I don't earn that money because I'm not willing to be someone's 24/7 helper, right? So again, maybe it's an unpopular decision, but if you want to be in a position of power, so to speak, on a blockchain, does that mean you should be available? Does that mean people should know who you are? I don't know. It's debatable. My opinion's yes, but again, debatable. Anyway, um, you know, I've been clearly a fun time today and just probably stirring up controversy without me even realizing it or trying to because I've done it accidentally in the past. So that is not my goal here. So leave it at that. And we've been going a while now. It's 1:30. Do you have anything you want to touch on before we wrap up? Anything?
I think we've covered a lot of it. And again, I mean, you said you're not fun today, but I think your opinions are valid as are everybody's opinions. And
Yeah, and that's essentially what it is. It's an opinion.
and you've been a long time user and believer in this blockchain. You're still here after 8, 9 years of dealing with a lot of shit, going through ups and downs. And like I said, you have a good perspective because it's someone like you don't run a project on Hive. You are an investor in Hive and you're generally an optimistic guy. And you have a certain opinion about how things are done and how you think things should be done. And that's okay.
And one's investment is kind of also their opinion, like for me. So like I stopped stacking Hive several years ago because I was finally just like beaten. Like I basically felt like, I felt like I was in an abusive relationship and I finally just gave up. And I'm like, well, I can't give anymore. Um, so, I hold a modest amount of Hive, so I can operate on the blockchain. I can, have a vote that it's at least worth a little something. Um, and you know, I let it do its thing. But I definitely power down. I got a power down going on right now. I didn't power down. I went I think 5 years. It's on the chain, someone can look. I didn't, my first power down, I think was like 5 years into being on the chain.
Yeah.
Um,
And what changed recently for that?
like I said, a few years ago, I kind of just gave up, so to speak. Um, I think also I was like, all right, well, where's a investment that potentially could be better? And I saw that in LeoDap, and I'm like, all right, this has promise, and this is something that like, especially because Seeking Alpha was a website that I used to work, participate on, and Leo Finance was kind of like Seeking Alpha on a blockchain, when it first launched. So I was like, all right, this is a great idea, and I could see, how it can grow. So that's when I started, leaning towards investing in Leo as opposed to stacking Hive. I also had some very smart investors that I've met from the Hive blockchain that basically also kind of gave up on Hive as an investment. So
I think
that
we need
also,
to change a lot of that. And that's been what I've, been really focused on is how do we make people excited again about the future of, Hive and where it's headed.
and that's
That's
exactly
really
kind of the
important.
point I was getting at. It's just like, why does it's like, it's again, it's a relationship. It's like, why do I want to stay? It's like it's been an 8-year marriage. Why do I want to stay? So, and also, what am I bringing to the table? I don't bring as much anymore. I don't write content. I used to write a post every day. I write maybe 2 posts a week, right? I'm not actively growing my Hive stack anymore. So it's, yeah, at the same time, it's like, what do I bring to the table? So do I even, help being around? So it's always two sides. You got to look at it both ways, right? You got to look in the mirror, and then you also got to ask, what your experience is too. So anyway, I'm ranting again, so I'm gonna just wrap it up with that. And obviously, this call has been much more Hive than INLEO, even though it's the INLEO AMA. But good to hear the coming updates, more good stuff. I'm looking forward to when Solana gets onboarded. I think that's going to be the biggest deal out of anything that's really happened uh, thus far in the onboarding.
Yeah, I think, Solana's like a $50 billion, was it $50 billion?
Freaking top 10 coin. Doesn't even
It
matter.
is. I think it's
Top
a
10
50
coin.
billion dollar ecosystem. Where are we at here? 100 billion, 100 billion. So yeah, Solana's a $100 billion ecosystem. Arbitrum's obviously a very large ecosystem as well. Chain flips, obviously not as big as those, but still big. Chainlink, getting these ecosystems as partners onboarded to Hive is going to bring a lot of users and capital to Hive. So while we've been live, Eric has been texting me because he's been pulling a lot of data for me so that we can make a post. But, one example is, recently onboarded accounts from INLEO have over 300,000 Hive and over 60,000 HBD. So saying that these accounts are not bringing investment into Hive is just completely inaccurate, literally from the data. He also said total Hive held by current INLEO users just in the past month is 14.4 million by active users on INLEO. And then the HBD is over 400K. So that is just some real data, not fake data, and we will be sure to put out a post. But like I said, we're going to put out this post earlier in the day today, and then afterwards we're going to release that real-time dashboard because again, the post is just a post. It's obviously accurate data. We're not fudging the data, and we're also not using a sample. We're using everything. And that's why it's taken him so long to pull it. But the real conversation ender, the real mic drop moment is us releasing this dashboard. The dashboard is just the end of the conversation. It is here is all the data in a easy to read interface in real time. And if you also still don't believe it for whatever reason, you can click two buttons and download the data for yourself, and you can dig through it and make sure that it's all accurate. So it's kind of a don't trust, verify end statement because I'm tired of the conversations and the politicking around data. Science and data are the things that we should not be disagreeing over. It's literally just, and we're not even interpreting this data. Like this is not, we're interpreting data. This is raw data. So, it's much different if you have to like interpret a study and what it might mean. What are the ramifications of it? Like this is just literally like, how many users are there? How much Hive do they have? How much HBD do they have? How much Leo do they have? How many threads have they made? Like this stuff is not up for debate. It's just like you put out the data and it's there. So obviously, if someone creates a sample size like 125 accounts, that's up for debate because that's being extrapolated and it's being commentated on. But the raw data itself and the total figures, that's something that just can't be made up. And it's not open for interpretation. So again, post first, dashboard later, end the conversation because I'm just annoyed by it
What happens on the blockchain stays on the blockchain.
forever.
Word. What is the updates for the people? You got chain chatter or some stuff like that coming up?
Yeah, we have something coming up with the Dash team and community. I'm not sure what day we're gonna do it. I've been talking to Joel over DMs. Maybe next Thursday, maybe sooner. I'm trying to see if we can maybe do it this week. If we can't do it this week, then we're gonna do it next Thursday. So sometime in the next week, we're gonna have a really big uh kind of like X Spaces event with the Dash team. It'll be fun. I'll make sure to put out a bunch of announcements because I want all the lines there. But a bunch of people from the Dash ecosystem are going to be there, so it'll be a really good time to also showcase all the real live people that we've onboarded that are live both on X, Dash, and INLEO. So we're going to do a lot of like cool stuff with threads and the threadcasts, etc. So um, yeah, I'll see about a chain chatter tomorrow. I was actually thinking about doing something different for tomorrow where we can do a live X space that's still chain chatter, and then I might just invite some friends from other chains. And then also you guys can come up on stage on the X call and just like talk, and we can talk about whatever you guys want. And just chatter about chains. So that's kind of a new format I've been considering instead of like the more interview format. We'll see. So keep your eyes open for an announcement if I end up doing that. But yeah, other than that, if you guys do support InLeo, and I know many of you do, and I appreciate it, just keep supporting, and I appreciate everything that you guys do, so that we can keep pushing forward and succeeding.
Word. All right, y'all. Well,
Cool.
until then,
Sweet. Thanks, Mitch. Thanks, everybody. See you later.
have a good one.
Yep.